All right, everybody, I am back with a brand new DC update. You guys have been asking, and honestly, the news has been very slow. We know with the strike going on, and I have talked to a couple of individuals, and the strike is scheduled to go into January, even into February of next year. Unless the studios cave and start giving in to some of these demands, then this is going to be a long-term strike leading into next year. I'm just warning you guys. But there is something I grabbed today in regards to the union, which shows how James Gunn will twist anything to look favorable, make it look favorable for him. So I have grabbed some screenshots, and we do have some stuff to talk about today, and this could be quite interesting. So let's take a look at some of the photos. Now, before I break into the photos, I would appreciate it if you guys like these videos. Please hit that like button. If you're new here, know that I shoot it straight. I don't mince words. I will tell it like it is. And I am very anti-James Gunn since he took over DC, and I have legitimate reasons as to why. But I do bring almost daily information on DC news as it gets released, and I'm going to continue to do that. So if this is your first time here, please hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you will be notified as I have new videos go up. All right, so, and I do have to reiterate at this stage that Warner Brothers, their ship is still sinking. They are the Titanic, and I don't think they're going to get out of this. I think they will be forced to sell next year in 2024. And so there's going to be a lot of changes still coming up, and I don't even know if Superman Legacy is ever going to see the light of day. All right, so let's take a look at some stuff here. So let's jump right out in front of some of this James Gunn news. And some of this may be old news, but like I said, there hasn't been enough information to really create a video up until now. But it says James Gunn has deactivated his personal Facebook account after his controversial Batman comments. Now, I posted on those comments a few videos ago where he made some disparaging comments about Batman. And it's pretty much been confirmed at this point that, yeah, he actually made these comments in the past. He has not come out and debunked those. Now, a lot of people will come out in his defense and say that it was a fake Facebook account, but it in fact was not. It was his account. And his account did get deactivated. Now, he actually came out and said that the reason this happened is he hasn't used Facebook in a while, and he actually got locked out of his account and didn't even know his own security questions to get back into his account. He claims that somebody has hacked his account. Now, how many people actually believe that? This guy, not a chance. So he comes, it's going to be interesting. There are some more things we're going to talk about here in regards to James Gunn, but it's just, this guy has turned into a complete and utter disaster for Warner Brothers at this stage. Okay, this really cracked me up when this came across my plate. I love this headline. Blue Beetle soars over $100 million at the worldwide box office. Soars? Soars over it in its third weekend? Really? So this individual had a review of Blue Beetle, and I find it funny that they did say that it soared past 100 million because most films will make that, good films will make that in its first weekend, let alone its third weekend. Here we have other people reporting on this as well. Blue Beetle, and this is more realistic. Blue Beetle finally hits 100 million at the box office. Now, guys, I do feel sorry for Blue Beetle. I really do. I enjoyed this movie. I think since Black Adam, this is the most enjoyable film that they've released. It was definitely way better than Shazam, and I even enjoyed it more than I did The Flash. I do plan on buying The Flash, and I am going to buy... I haven't bought Shazam 2, and I don't know if I will. I really did not like Shazam 2. But I will be purchasing The Flash. I just haven't made it out to the store to do that. And I will purchase Blue Beetle when it finally does hit shelves, when it does finally get released. But this movie is definitely struggling at the box office. I think the budget was $120 million, and they will make that back with sales. I do believe they did lose. I showed in the last video how they did lose 500 theaters across the U.S. this last weekend, but they should easily be able to make their budget and then some. They did put a lot of money into the advertising, so it may not make a profit until it hits home video sales. But I do think this movie in particular will do extremely well on streaming as well as home video. I think this one will be a big seller when it does finally get released. Now, I just had to pull this up to remind people of the stuff that James Gunn has said in the past. This is back in January 7th of 2022. So this was a mere, not even quite 10 months before he became the head of DC. And he says, somebody had mentioned something. He said, thanks for the compliment. Somebody was talking about him running something like over at DC or running something at Marvel. And he said, thanks for the compliment. But I would never want Walt at DC or Kevin at Marvel's job. So he didn't want Walter Hamada's. He didn't want Kevin Feige's. He would never, and never is a strong word. He said, I would never want those jobs. He's also made comments where he said he would never write a Superman film. Now, he claims that people change their mind. Yeah, but these are pretty strong statements that he's made in the past. So is he all of a sudden going to come out and say he didn't make, that he was mistaken when he made those comments about Batman? This guy is toxic for DC. He doesn't care about the characters. He bastardized Vigilante, and also, people talk about Zack Snyder butchering these characters, but what James Gunn did with Vigilante and also Peacemaker is far worse than anything that Zack Snyder did with the Justice League. But yet he's going to get a free pass, and people are going to lap it up. The media will lap it up. I don't know what it is about James Gunn, but people have a love affair with this guy, and I do not understand it. But he is, again, he's known for making these comments. Now, this next comment's the interesting one. So somebody just asked him, I think I pulled this up this morning if I'm not mistaken, but it says, when are we getting more news on Creature Commandos? Somebody said, probably after the strikes. He's right. This is what James Gunn said. And this is not true. I live this world. This is the industry I am a part of. It says it's animated, so it's separate from the strike. No, it's not. He said, we're working on it. I love it. I think it's going to be so different than what people expect. So let's talk about a couple of things here. On the surface, he's lying. Just because it's separate and it's animated does not mean it is separate from the strike. The actors are striking and the writers are striking. That is true. The only way this statement could even be true is if all the voices are completely done, which they are. They always do. For people who don't know this, whenever they do an animated movie, the voice is always done first. It's always better to do the voices first. It's easier to create animation around a voice than it is to do the animation than try to get the voice to match it. So they always do the voices first. It being animated on the surface has nothing to do with this. They can't write new animated movies. They can't start new animated movies. They can't bring actors in to create new animated movies. So his statement on it's animated so it's separate is bullcrap. The only way they can move forward with the production on this is if all of the writing was completely done and if all the voice acting was done. So he might be correct in saying he didn't say the correct thing here, if that's what he meant. And he could be. This could have been what he meant, but he did not articulate this in any way, shape, or form. So as long as that stuff's done, they can move ahead with this entirely. But just because it's animated doesn't mean it's separate from the strike, because you can't do new video games right now. You can't do new animated features. You can't write video games. You can't write animated features. It's all part of SAG-AFTRA. It is a full writer strike. It's a full actor strike. So they can't do anything. So for him to say just because it's animated, it's separate from the strike is not true. It's not true, guys. This is the way this guy operates. He speaks in half-truths. I can't tell you how so irritating it is when I see people spread misinformation like that. And he's doing it knowingly. Like I said, just because it's animated does not mean it is it is not part of the strike. It absolutely is. Maybe not that production if the voices are done and the writing was completely done, but that's not what he said. He didn't say because we were so far in production, we don't need the actors or the writers anymore, and he was the writer of it. He didn't say that. He said because it's animated. That is a lie. That is not true. It is not true. This is how this guy operates. And it's disgusting to see that stuff get passed around and people just take it at face value. And it's not true. He's spreading misinformation, and he lives in that world. He should not be doing that. I will correct when I see stuff in regards to the SAG-AFTRA strike and what is actually going on. And his statement was 100% false. All right, guys, so there is my update for the day. There's not really much else to talk about because no new information is getting released. One thing I did see is that the Adventures of Superman, and I didn't grab a screenshot on this, but the Adventures of Superman and Lois, or My Adventures with Superman, whatever it's called, they have a lot of big plans for season 2. And honestly, I didn't make it past the first 2 episodes. It was too childish for me, and I may go back and watch it maybe when the season's over and I can burn through them all pretty quickly. But I didn't like the colors. I didn't like how feminine they made him. There's a lot of things I didn't like about it. I prefer Batman the Animated Series. I prefer Superman the Animated Series. This is definitely a step below those types of productions, and it's just not my cup of tea. It's just not. And so maybe it's good. I don't know. I'll go back and maybe check it out later. I tried to check out Harley Quinn, but there was just way too much language in it. I couldn't stand it. To me, that's if you can't write and you need to use language and everything, you have a problem writing a cohesive script. And so that show was full of language. I may go back and check that out one day too, but I tried to watch the first episode and it was a big turnoff. So those are a couple things I may end up going back to, and that's why I stopped also watching. What's that show? I'm trying to think of the name of it. Where they had all the goofy people together in the professor's house. It's on the tip of my tongue. It was a HBO Max show. Someone's going to correct me on this. I can see the characters. I just can't remember. Doom Patrol. That's what I was trying to remember. Doom Patrol. Doom Patrol, I couldn't watch it after the first season because of the amount of language. It was just off the charts. It was ridiculous, the amount of language that was in that show. It's just not my cup of tea. Write better. Write better. Fill the dialogue with important stuff, not just a bunch of language. All right, guys, there's my update for the day. I will be back with new updates as more information comes forward. So if you stick to my channel, I will be doing more updates. Do not worry. I'm not abandoning my channel. I will be here. I've got a lot of movie reviews coming up probably over the next week, so you're going to see 1 or 2 of these pop up just about every day. I do appreciate if people take time to watch those reviews. There's lots of movies that I haven't had a chance to review, and I need to get those out there ASAP and get them cleared off my plate so I can move on with other things. We will see you guys in the next video.